And we're live here on YouTube. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land. And also, my buddy Rich. Rich, how you doing today? Are you sleeping at all? Okay. Okay. No problem. Okay. I didn't announce that, by the way. I said you were off for reasons. Yeah, but that's your news to share, not mine. I did give you guys a shout out last week at the end of it. I didn't say why. I just said shout out to Rich and Amy. They know why. It's good. We're kind of in the slow season. We had an awesome esports event. Um, we had it live in person. Spirit Lake came down. We did it on the stage. We had a giant projector. While we're doing this, I'm gonna try to get it so that I can get an image of it and like share it as a quick screenshot for later. This won't be now, but it'll be later. Yeah, yeah. Um, oh, we only had one parent show up. I didn't advertise it super well. That's on me. I 100% take blame for it. I've been, I was, yeah. I didn't even know if we were going to be able to make it happen until like the day of. So I didn't get it out there. That's on me. I'll take that. But it was really cool. So, um, but no, we had a good time. It's been a busy week. Had a friend of ours from church died, so that really put a damper on the week. But, um, getting to celebrate with you guys, getting to do some fun stuff over the week, taking care of some things, and it makes it a little bit better. I'm not saying it's easy when something like that happens, but we'll talk about that in our shout outs. We'll be praying for family and stuff like that. And yeah, but other than that, no, it was a pretty decent week. Um, we I we got free agency to talk about, and then we have a basketball player doing something, and the reaction. And I'm gonna add in, we got to do a mid-season check-in for those sports we don't actually pay as much attention to as we should. All that and more, Rich. But what's it time to do?
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.
And we're back. Sorry about that. I totally screwed up because I was trying to do something else and forgot that I wasn't in the right mode. We got everything in there. The intro played the full intro. But before we do that, Rich, let's talk about our poll question this week. Um, Rich, we had a good week this week for a poll question. I feel I totally forgot to set it. Thank you for catching that for me. Um, I think I went with Red Rover if I remember correctly. Got to bring that up again. Yeah, I voted for Red Rover. Unfortunately, Heather Marie, Danielle Hart, and Rich Hendricks all voted for scooter relay races for yeah, we did like hockey and stuff like that. I don't know that we did the races so much. We did team races where you had one guy on the scooter and one guy pushing, but other than that, we didn't do a lot. That sounds right. I don't remember calling it that, but yes, that's essentially a game that I do remember playing. We called it, I don't remember exactly what we called it, but close enough, yes. Is it a left turn? Is it another left turn, Rich? Yep. So let's talk last week as we were in Phoenix for the Straight Talk Wireless 500. Rich, I tuned into the race in the middle of the race, and Josh Berry was in the lead, and Ryan Blaney was struggling because his team failed him on the pit stops, not once, but twice throughout the day. They actually failed him 3 times. 2 were for loose wheels, and then I forget what the third one was. It might have just been a long stop, but he overcame all of that, and Ryan Blaney wins. And Josh Berry ends up in 31st position. That's rough for me. Rich, that brings you up 2 points. Yeah, I forgot about picking him in Atlanta. I mean, we haven't officially stated that. I mean, we try to do that, and we both agreed that that's our goal, but it's not an official rule. But, Rich, with that, you have taken a commanding lead as you are at 775. Dupo is at 719. I dropped all the way to third with 575 points. Yeah. 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 And it gets you points in fantasy rewards. People, this is huge. Use your fantasy rewards. Yeah. I like that pick. I like I understand and I get the reasoning, but if you leave guys on the table, you might leave a win on the table. So I am gonna pick Kyle Larson. Yep. Yeah. That's okay. Uh, I did. I talked a lot about that actually, but I will say, yeah. I'm gonna say real quick one other thing that just real quick about stuff. Another thing NASCAR doesn't need, and it's not like you would say Cletus McFarland. I disagree. I also talked about, by the way, how I claimed a year and a half ago when Cletus first announced that he was doing NASCAR, or anything in NASCAR, I essentially announced, hey, this is like our title of the show that week was How Cletus McFarland Saves NASCAR. And you're seeing a lot about that. That's one thing I talked about last week. But one thing NASCAR doesn't need, another lawsuit. And yet, yeah, it's not between a team and NASCAR. It is now between Joe Gibbs Racing, Spire Motorsports, and their former director of competition. And there's some basic arguments that have been made. No official arguments, but just quick briefs and whatnot, and amicus briefs and all this stuff, trying to get through the initial part of things. Yeah, I think that's who it was. Yeah, Joe Gibbs is. Yeah, so there's that. More importantly, so that comes out, and then Gabe Hart fires back and says, "Yeah, well, this might have been my title, but it didn't mean anything when it came to." Rich, I apologize. I don't know that anybody has heard a word you said up until right now.
You forgot to unmute my mic.
I did. I'm a jerk.
Oh,
Rich,
okay.
welcome to the show. By the way, folks, when I've been quiet, Rich has been talking. So I'm just gonna
a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna blitz through what's happened so far in the 17 minutes of the show. I'm gonna wrap it up in under 30 seconds. We're gonna start with Rich voted for scooter relays because Red Rover was scary for him and he didn't want to die by clothesline and he wasn't big enough to take out the entire line. 2, Rich won with Ryan Blaney. He said I wasn't allowed to pick Ryan Blaney because we're trying to do the not repeating a player until the playoffs. 3, he picked Ryan Pierce because he won last week. And 4, he remembers this lawsuit and is glad he wasn't here to listen to me rant on about Cletus McFarland. And 4, I will let him make the official announcement one more time on the show. Why weren't you here last week, Rich?
Yeah, because we welcomed a baby boy into the family last week. So
okay,
took the week off.
I think you're all caught up. Sorry about that, folks. I'm an idiot sometimes. I wholeheartedly admit it. I'm tired. I got a little bit of a cold. I'm not paying attention. Okay, with that, the lawsuit with Joe Gibbs Racing, the biggest thing is to come out right now is that essentially the competition director was being bypassed on everything that has to do with Ty Gibbs, Joe Gibbs' grandson.
Yeah, he was also, I think the lawsuit also alleged that they were trying to get him to be a crew chief again for Ty Gibbs when he was hoping to be more of a competition CEO type of role over all the cars under Joe Gibbs Racing, and that's not what he signed up for.
Yeah,
he wasn't even able to really function in that type of role for all the teams, race related, as everything was going through Coach Gibbs, as if his job title wasn't even there.
Yeah, so it's a mess. I'm not thrilled about it. It's not something NASCAR needs right now. It is nice that it doesn't directly affect NASCAR itself, but man, is it going to get ugly. So,
yeah, and I think the other thing that I saw in the NASCAR world, not necessarily related, but it was an interesting article there, I guess, that I skimmed over, and it had to do with maybe the Fox coverage of the sport, with it seeming like Fox is putting more money in advertising into IndyCar instead of NASCAR.
yeah.
As there's a big difference. I think they said that it's over into like 307. It's in the $700 million for advertising for IndyCar versus I think they said it was like 385 for NASCAR advertising, and it getting more ad play on other big events like the World Baseball Classic, which we'll talk about next, and the Super Bowl. Them getting more advertising time with their major sports. And the other thing that I've noticed, it seems like these IndyCar races that they're airing are on Big Box, while most of the NASCAR races are being pushed to their cable network, FS1.
Yep. Which is, so I would agree, and the hard part is that it feels like Fox at least is treating it like, well, NASCAR fans are going to find NASCAR no matter what. We don't care. Hey, they're going to watch wherever it is. Hey, we have this sport that isn't, like, it's popular. I'm going to keep digging. I don't care. It's a sport that nobody really cares about.
Except when it's Indy 500.
Except the Indy 500. Outside of the Indy 500, most Americans don't give two rips about Indy racing. By the way, I'm going to also say, ratings-wise, most people don't care about NASCAR. But there's a significantly larger portion that care about NASCAR than there is about Indy. So, do that with what you will. I think NASCAR is getting disrespected, which is ridiculous when you look at how much Fox and everyone is paying for the rights to show NASCAR. And yet they're not putting it on easy to find Fox or easy to find whatever. Like, how ridiculous is that? I have a hard time with it, but
yeah, I'd rather see more races on the big network, on the big Fox.
Yeah,
but at least when they go to the cable network, at least the commentators stay the same, and they're not going to like the B team commentators when they're on the cable side.
I mean, could you imagine if Fox was like, "Hey, I know that we have the rights to the NFL, but we're going to put our Sunday game on FS1, and Fox is going to show," because I think last week Fox wasn't even showing anything special.
No, I think Fox had the. I think they advertised it as the double. I don't remember what Fox. Yeah, you're right. But I don't remember what Fox had.
They didn't show. The double was Saturday into Sunday.
Yeah, it was a Saturday, Sunday, and I believe that was the opening race on the FS1 circuit side of the schedule. But I will say that I think Fox does a better job of at least putting more of their races on the big network than NBC does. As NBC, I think, only puts the last 3 races and Daytona on big NBC rather than, and then the rest of it's on the USA network. But yeah, more than likely, if on a Saturday afternoon, Fox is probably going to be showing reruns of something.
Okay, here you go. This is upcoming this week.
Okay.
So, FS1 is showing the race at 4 o'clock. Okay, so this one maybe makes a little bit of sense. Maybe. No, it's 3 o'clock. So, what do you think Fox is showing on Fox itself versus what they're showing on FS1?
This week, I'm going to go with the Big East tournament, basketball tournament.
You would think that.
Okay.
The Big East tournament starts at 5:30 p.m.
Okay, so the title game of the Big East tournament. Okay.
That's at 5:30.
Okay.
But
so what are they showing opposite the NASCAR race?
The NASCAR race starts at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time.
Okay, so what are they putting on Big Fox opposite it?
The biggest sport in the world. The least watched sport in America. MLS soccer.
Or at least in our opinion, the least watched sport in America, yeah.
No, it is. MLS soccer is what they're putting on. By the way, if it would have been a noon match, it would have been going up against the Bassmaster Classic.
On Big Fox.
On Big Fox.
Wow.
Yeah. The championship game for the Big East doesn't start until 6:30, by the way.
Yeah, they could have easily had the NASCAR race, or at that point, that's when if it went into overtime and the race wasn't done yet, that's when you flip it over to the cable side and preempt it.
Like, how is this an acceptable way to do things? Oh wait, this is Sunday, right?
It's a Sunday race, yes.
No, I'm just making sure that I'm on a Sunday. That this was no. Nope. I'm sorry. This is today, not Sunday. I almost missed that out. I apologize. I was trying to find. Okay.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, they're also trying to sell a cable network that probably, when you think sports, in my opinion, Mike, if I'm thinking sports and cable, I go to ESPN. I think of ESPN, not FS1. So they're trying to get some viewers onto their content on FS1. So I somewhat get it. But if you're telling me that, then air the race on both networks. Just air the race on both networks, as ESPN does that all the time with the NFL for select games, to where they'll air the Monday night game and then simulcast it over on ABC, on the ABC network. So just to get up, so I mean, if it comes down to a sport like fishing or bowling, I've seen bowling on Big Fox instead of the NASCAR race.
Well, this gets even worse, Rich. I'm actively looking at the schedule for tomorrow at 3:00.
Okay, Sunday at 3:00.
Sunday at 3:00.
Okay. What is Big Fox?
It's worse than MLS, by the way.
Okay, what is it?
The Bassmaster Classic.
The finals of fishing on TV.
Yep.
Wow, I'm not a fisherman, let alone fishing myself, watching people fish, but I don't.
From 2:30 till 5:30 tomorrow, Fox is playing the Bassmaster Classic. Instead of the NASCAR race, for which they already have the rights and are already doing a broadcast for. They're just putting that over on MLS. Or on Fox Sports 1.
That seems like that should be flipped.
At best, it should be flipped.
The Bassmaster Classic seems like something that's maybe like a tape delay, middle of the night, because you have nothing else on, or that's more of like an FS2 type of content, not Fox 1. But we also don't know what the rights fee is that maybe the Bassmaster Classic is paying the Fox network to air that on Big Fox rather than one of their cable channels.
By the way,
either live or on a tape delay.
You want to get people to watch the Indy race that's on right before the NASCAR race? Put the NASCAR race on the same channel. Like, what is Fox doing here? You have a lead-in from noon to 2:30 is the IndyCar race. The Grand Prix of Arlington. If it goes a little long, you got a little bit of baked-in time. Maybe move that to FS1, or put the
one race. You start the NASCAR race on FS1, and then move it over to Big Fox once the race is over.
Yeah.
Or do pregame, do the pre-race show on FS1, and then you have a little bit of a lead-in saying that the race will be. You can tune into the race over on Fox. You have all the pre-race, the flyover, the prayer, the national anthem, all the way on Fox, and then you transfer it over. But I don't know how many times I don't see why they don't put the race on both channels.
Fox, this is one of the dumbest things I've seen.
let's take it out, Mike, because we're beating a dead horse here. Obviously, nobody's. It's not going to matter what we have to say about it. It's not going to matter. We both have Fox One. It'd be something totally different if we didn't have a streaming package that gets us access to these cable channels. Much like the Cubs do. How many Cubs games do we get to watch because we don't want to pay for the marquee sports network or a cable package that includes the channel?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So,
you actually could pay for it and get it fairly easily.
I could if I wanted to. I think anymore. I'm okay with listening on the Odyssey app.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, take us out on the NASCAR corner and let's talk some baseball.
This has been the NASCAR Corner, presented as always by III Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs on 5th Avenue in Moline or on their eBay store. Once again, that is III Sports Cards Incorporated. Rich, let's keep making left turns as we talk about the World Baseball Classic. Have you watched any of it?
I actually have.
Oh, good.
So being home with the kiddo, I've tuned into a couple of games. So I think while I was cooking dinner last night, warming up the dinner that got brought to us, I had the Dominican Republic Korea game on for a little while and watched that, which is the semifinal game. And I think last week I had a couple of the games on. So right now the bracket, we're in the semifinals. The U.S. beat Canada last night and will face the Dominican Republic on Sunday.
Nice.
As this week to go into the finals. Tonight you're going to see Japan. The favored Japan. I'm not sure of the bracket. I should have brought that up. But anyway, I know heavily favored Japan is playing today, with I think it's Puerto Rico, Venezuela, and Italy. And Italy today in Miami and Houston, respectively. I'm not sure what the matchups are off the top of my head. So I'm hoping to watch a little bit more of the game. I'm kind of embracing it a little bit more this year, whereas in years past it was kind of like a head scratcher of, I don't get it. You're interrupting spring training with these. There's too much pitch selections. There are limits on pitchers, and kind of like head scratching decisions on why you're playing certain people, because you might have the influence of another manager getting in your ear saying, "Hey, I need so and so to get some playing time." Not sitting on your bench, yeah. Or I need you need to pull back the innings on this guy. And hey, I noticed that this guy has just been sitting in your bullpen and hasn't thrown in a couple of days. Get him some innings, which is what happened to the U.S. I think in that Italy in a couple of games where they've been talking about it, kind of scratching your head with why would you keep the best closer in baseball on the bench and put in somebody else. And then you come out that the manager had gotten in the ear. The managers talked and was like, "Hey, you notice you haven't thrown this guy in a couple of days. Can you get him some innings? So, but anyway, I've been watching a little bit more as I've had some time on my hands. So I'll probably end up watching a couple more games.
Okay. I've been. I haven't really been able to watch it. I've been a little busy. But. U.S. losing to Italy is hilarious to me because 3/4 of the players were American-born of Italian descent. I have problems with stuff like that.
Yeah, but if you went through it and said that nope, you have to have been born in the country, you're probably not going to be able to field competitive teams,
right?
From people from outside of Japan, the U.S., and probably the Caribbean nations. You're probably not going to be able to field competitive teams if you put that you have to have, or only be like one generation removed from having ancestry somewhere in the country. But it's the same with the Olympics. You've had you've had Olympians that, well, I chose to compete for this country because that's where my mom's from, or that's where one of my parents is from. So I'm choosing to compete for that country instead of the U.S. where I lived year round, where I live and train year round.
Yeah, and I'm totally fine with that. I just some days there's some. It's hard because I don't know that it's 100% right on either way. Um, Baseball makes a lot more sense to me because again, baseball is not as widely played. But the Olympics, I do have some problems with.
All right, Mike. So that was the World Baseball Classic. So we didn't necessarily do an adopted nation to watch. So we'll kind of recap it as the results come in. So we'll have a winner. So we'll know that the winner will be announced. We'll have a winner by the time we go on the air next week. If I had to put money on the event, which I won't be doing, I'd probably go with the Dominican Republic. That lineup is stacked. They've been hitting the ball. They got a good bullpen, so if their starting pitching can go those 4 innings, and then they can go into their late inning bullpens, they're going to be tough to beat, even with Japan. All right, Mike. The MLB preview this week: the Cubs over under. Looking at, I went with the figure from BetMGM, a more prominent sports book, and I think one that gets a lot of play, a lot of ad time on the MLB coverage. They gave the Cubs 88.5 wins, Mike. I think that's doable.
I think that's very doable. I think that's very, very doable. I'm not. I think that's about right. I think that's very easily done.
They got 92 wins last year.
Yeah. I think for sure they're going to do it. So I have no problems with that happening.
Okay, I did check some other sports books. I think Yahoo, ESPN, and were the other two that I checked. They also went with the 88.5.
Okay.
I like the over as well.
Is there anything? Is there any with the Cubs season? Let's just do a quick Cubs season preview.
Sure.
Because we haven't done that yet this year, and we got a little extra time today.
Okay.
And maybe we open it up to the whole Central. Cubs season as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What are your expectations? Your basic expectations. Don't have to say maybe are they going to make the playoffs? Let's start there.
Yeah, I think they make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they can. Are they going to go deep in the playoffs?
I think they can. I think they can make it to the championship series this year.
Okay, at least okay. Would you be upset if they don't make the championship series?
I would like to see who they match up against.
Okay.
In that potential division league.
Yeah.
Division championship.
Yeah.
Because it was a close matchup in the wild card round, but I don't think they're going to get the number 1 seed to avoid the wild card. By no means. That's the Dodgers to lose because their team is that stacked. But I might be a little disappointed if they lose in the wild card round.
Okay.
Barring any injuries or who they get matched up against.
Yeah, makes sense. The rest of the division. Maybe you're not ready. Are you ready to talk?
I can go with that. I think it's going to be a tough battle this year. The Bucks have improved. We've always kind of had the opinion it's Pittsburgh. Those are penciling a winning record against that team. But I think all the division matchups, all the division games could be a tough and good matchups this year. Because even though the Cardinals are rebuilding and going with a lot of young players, it's still the Cardinals. They get up for those games. Even when the Cubs have been bad, when the Cardinals come to town, they somehow find a way to play winning baseball.
Yeah.
They don't get blown out. The Bucks have improved this year. They got strong pitching.
The
And
thing that scares me the most,
Cincinnati looks good to me this year too.
I never like when the Cubs are the favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, I will always argue the Brewers are always a scary team. Like, to me, the scariest team is the Brewers. And right now, the Brewers are sitting at... So the Cubs are sitting at plus 115. The Brewers are at 160. The Reds are at plus 400. The Pirates are at plus 650. And the Cardinals are at plus 3,000. This is to win the Central.
Okay.
Cubs are the favorite. Do the Brewers have what it takes to beat the Cubs overall over the entire season? I'm not talking like just
I know
per games. I'm talking like, and I think that's the scary one. Never underestimate the Brewers, but I think the Cubs win the division. I will say, if the Cubs don't win the division, I will be slightly disappointed. If they don't make it, I don't want to say they need to win the divisional round, but it has to be really good.
You know what, Mike? I'll save the take for next week.
Okay.
I think the Brewers.
We'll talk next week.
I want to see what the Brewers. I think the Brewers maybe.
People are giving them too much credit.
Too much credit. I think a lot of those.
Next week we're going to talk.
I think there's still going to be a formidable matchup from week to week, but
right.
when you're depending on. When you're. Man, they took a step back with pitching. Well, save it for next week.
We'll save it for next week. Here's what we're going to do. Next week, we're going to preview the division winners. We're going to go into the wild card, and we're going to give you that stuff. That's going to be next week. We're going to also focus on the Central. We are going to give you, and this is homework for next week for both of us.
Okay.
Next week, we're going to have a ranking of where we think the Central will be the entire week.
Okay. So division standings. So we're going to give our division and on our playoff team. Basically, we're going to say which teams are going to make the playoffs from each league. But Mike, you're adding in that you also want to predict the Central Division from top to bottom.
We'll at least talk about it. We may not make full predictions, but we will at least talk about how we think it's going to look. Okay.
Gotcha. And also next week, we got to give you our winner of the Cubs opening day, which will be the 26th.
Okay.
Against the Nationals.
We are okay. So let's get into Rich. You did want to talk about, and I was leaving this for you because it's something you're a lot better on. You wanted to talk about battles going on with the Cubs.
Wow. Let's go ahead and go into the NFL.
Okay, we'll go into the NFL. So this week, signings and moves in the NFL, how crazy this week has been.
Yeah, I know, Mike, you sent a message through IM saying Tua got released.
Yep.
Do you think he's going to sign anywhere? And he wasn't even on the market a full day.
Right.
And Atlanta signed him.
Yeah. I think that's a mistake. The scary thing is that there are people saying that he is P1. He's QB1. And I don't
think it's a good signing by Atlanta, because I think Stefanski has a history of being able to scheme an offense around a quarterback on the fly, and it helps that both the QBs on that roster, Tua, who's an injury waiting to happen, and Michael Penix coming back from an injury, are both left-handed.
Yeah.
So there's that going for them. So I think I wrote that I think Tua would be a good backup option to sign, or somebody that maybe going to a situation where he maybe has a pathway to start, but not being the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And I think that's where he landed. He's going to be in a competition with Penix, but there's no guarantee that he's going to get starter reps. He's not necessarily signing in a place to be the starting quarterback, but he's going to be in a competition.
Yeah.
And he'll be a good back. He'll be a good guy to sub in if another injury happens.
So with that, let's do, aside from Bears, any other big moves that you think we need to highlight?
Ooh, Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker going into Kansas City.
That's actually my number 2.
Okay.
So let's talk about it.
I don't know if I like the signing. Kansas City's running backs tend to be people that also catch the ball out of the backfield. And Kenneth Walker, they even said it in the Super Bowl when he was having issues in passing situations. Oh, he doesn't normally catch the ball out of the backfield.
Yep.
So that signing really doesn't make much sense. But maybe Kansas City has another back in mind for going out to getting a complimentary back to be the receiving back out of that backfield.
I think this is actually a great move by Kansas City because, and this is where I come at it, with a not untested, we'll say untested, Patrick Mahomes from the second half, or after coming back from this injury, which they're right now saying he's slated to be back week 1. With him being that untested, it gives you a quick, easy out as often as it doesn't.
Okay, so you're saying that getting a bruising running back, not necessarily a runner and a receiver.
Yep.
They lean heavily on the run game if they had to have a backup quarterback start a couple of games before Pat Mahomes.
Not even just that. I'm just saying most quarterbacks have a tight end as a security blanket. By the way, Kelsey coming back, running it back. But the security blanket this year for Kansas City is not Travis Kelsey. It will be Walker. And it's not going to be the quarterback's security blanket. It's going to be the team's security blanket. So that if Patrick is having issues, we're just going to do a quick handoff and he's going to do what he has to do. I think it's a great move. And that's what needed to happen. So I'm totally cool with it. Next. Mine.
Okay.
Kyler Murray. Up to Minnesota.
Okay.
A week prior, the Vikings essentially said, we've sat down with and discussed and have a game plan for what we're going to do with J.J. McCarthy. I got 3 different articles about it in my news feed. J.J. McCarthy knows what he has to do in order to make this team work. And within the first day of free agency, they go out and they get themselves Kyler Murray.
Because they wanted competition.
Yeah. I think this is actually a really bad move. Because my favorite saying of them all, when you got 2 quarterbacks, you got none. And this is a prime example of what that's going to look like. If you wanted to bring someone in, call the guy that's going to be playing in Pittsburgh this year.
I thought they'd be bringing in Kirk Cousins. Bringing back Kirk Cousins myself.
Speaking of bringing back a quarterback, how about the ultimate full circle conversation?
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith back to the Jets. Are they going to break Geno Smith yet again?
They just need somebody that can be under center and be healthy all year. They just need to be the Jets. The Jets just need to win more than 3 games,
Yeah.
so the front office and the coaching staff can show ownership we're making progress,
Yeah.
and that hopefully they can be in the top 3 or 4 again, so they can get another shot at a quarterback. Because Gino's in his mid-30s,
Yeah.
mid to late 30s, so he's not the long-term answer.
Yeah.
He just needs to win more than 3 games. He just
Yep.
needs to be better than the quarterbacks that they had last year.
Which I think he is. I wholeheartedly think he is. Okay, so real quick, let's jump over and talk the Bears, all the moves they've done, trades, free agency, all that. First, trades. How do you feel about the DJ Moore trade?
I like it. I thought he was obviously supplemented in the offense with that there's adequate replacements on the offense for his production. So to get his contract off the table, and them having Burden and Odunze, they should be fine to let him go. He was extendable, so I didn't mind the trade. I didn't mind the trade at all. Buffalo needs a number 1 starter, so a number 1 wide receiver or somebody that can be in that type of role. So I like the move for both sides.
Okay.
They brought in some good defense. So go ahead on the DJ Moore.
I'm nervous about DJ, about not having DJ. I think he is great. He can do a lot of things. But, like you said, he's getting a little older, getting a little question mark.
So, Mike, take away the games that he played. Take away the games that he had against Green Bay.
Okay.
Was the stat line? Was he a difference maker outside of the Green Bay games?
My answer is yes. But it's what defenses were doing to take him out of the game that made other guys able to step up. And that's where I think the difference is. Either way, it's done, it's over with. I'm not going to...
Yep, they got younger. So they got younger at the position going.
The big thing I said last week...
and Burton. So
the big thing I said last week was I think Ryan Poles has been doing great things the last couple of years, and I have to trust that he knows what he's doing. Because so far it's shown that he has. And so I have to stick with it, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I fell on it. So, next, you wanted to go to defense. I was going to stay in offense and ask how you feel about A, our center leaving, and then B, who we picked up at center.
Yeah,
I'm not happy about it.
Tough. Yeah, the center move is tough, and
we saw in the Super Bowl how easily he was getting moved around.
Yep, because we got the Patriots center.
He's good at the exchange, but after that, he does not provide the protection that you need, and it's going to put back into position the problems that we've had for years that our O-line can't keep up.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe they draft somebody that they can develop or swap in if you have to. Because obviously, I don't think they would have paid the type of money that the top center got from that Vegas played Tyler Linderbaum. Or I think there were a couple other centers that got big money that the Bears probably wouldn't have paid for it. So they addressed the position, at least, so it's not going to fall just on a rookie that was drafted. So at least they did something to address it and didn't wait for it. Didn't wait out free agency to see if they would be able to pull it off a move or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's better things we could have done. I think I watched. If you watch the Super Bowl, that man got destroyed so much. The amount of times that all that happened was the Seahawks go right up the middle and pancake this man all the way to the point that they were able to get and take down the quarterback time and time again. Terrible thing. Not looking good. I'm not happy about it. But again, we have to trust in Ryan Poles. Rich, I will let you have the last word on the Bears as you talk about the defense.
Yeah, I like the defensive additions that they made. I'm kind of disappointed to see Kevin Boyd get signed away and leave him, but at least they replaced him with a younger player that had a good role in the Super Bowl in Kobe Bryant. And I think I like Devin Bush as a replacement for Tremaine Edmonds, who was getting up there in age. And I think he was signed as an Eberflus's defense. So I like the signing to get a good coverage linebacker like Bush, younger and a better coverage guy, and they've added some depth along the defensive line as well, along the O-line. Getting a former first-round pick in Jedrick Willis.
Yeah.
Signed him away from the Browns, so I like that move. Other than that, a lot of good depth moves along the defensive line, so I think they'll be probably going defense in the upcoming draft.
Yeah, I think I think they made a lot of good moves that way as well. Okay, with that, Rich, anything else in the NFL that you want to talk about before we hit our quick hits? And these have to be pretty quick hits as we're pushing up time. So
yeah, let's go on to our quick hits. So
okay.
It's kind of odd that our show title went to a quick hit, but Bam Adebayo this week scored 83 points.
How crazy is that? Second all-time points scored in a single game, surpassing Kobe Bryant with 81.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see. And this guy's Bam's previous high was 41 points in a game. But I mean, when you're hot, and they kept finding ways to get him the ball. But I mean, he set the new record for free throws attempted in a game with this as well. So I think it's a worthwhile record and everything, but it seems odd to me. I think for me, it's another example of the NBA just doesn't play defense anymore.
Yeah.
But at least he set this record by getting to the free throw line and making contested buckets and not just hoisting up threes after three after three, like some of the other people on the all-time scoring record, as I saw like a lot of people getting like 70s and 75s recently.
Yeah.
And those are more players that just chuck up the three ball and are volume shooters with 3-pointers.
So this was a week and a half ago, I think. I saw a YouTube video that essentially talked about how the post is coming back as average points per possession for players is actually higher on a lot of these younger players and bigger guys like Bam, like Luka, like you name it, Wemby, all these guys doing post moves to get the points, even though we've been told for years the three is where it's at. It's great to see posting up making a comeback in the NBA. I like seeing it. So,
yeah, I think the other controversy you have with this game was that while he was being quadruple teamed, a 3-1 matchup, he was still getting his points, but on the opposite end, his teammates were intentionally fouling the opposing team players to lengthen the game to get him more scoring opportunities. But I think as I was watching the highlights where he made like the final 3 throws to pass Kobe for it, they took him out. It was like a 1 minute left. It's like, all right, at this point, screw it. Just let him keep going. Let him keep going. But so I think maybe that would have been more of a controversy if he had gotten to 101.
Yeah.
Seeing how many, if you notice the other team was just dribbling it out and trying to dribble out the game and get it over with, and they were fouling him just to get the ball back in their hands, force them to make free throws and get it back in their hands.
No,
So they could get it into Bam. So, but it's still a feat, regardless of how we got to that number.
right. So it brings up the arguments for today's NBA versus previous NBA versus blah, blah, blah. Players are softer, players are blah, blah, blah. Here's the deal. An accomplishment like this is huge. Give the man his dues. He had 45 in the first half. Like, you can argue saying, like you said, and I'm not saying you're wrong, Rich, but you can make the argument about how at the end his team fouling, even though they were up 20 points, makes no sense, just so they could get the ball to Bam, so he would get fouled, blah blah blah. Fine, whatever. They were still able to get him the ball. That's a feat in and of itself. And B, he still had 45 at half. He had more than half the points needed to do this. Get out of here with that. Okay.
All right, Mike. Esports. You had a big meet this week.
Yeah, first, before we do esports, we're going to do spoiler. We're going to talk about The Masked Singer. I'm going to get spoiled. I haven't seen it yet. Don't care. We're talking about it in just a second. I'm going to give you an esports update. If you don't want to hear about The Masked Singer, turn it off after the esports update. Come back when you've seen it and catch up. Let's get into esports. Esports hosted Okaboji hosted Spirit Lake this week in a awesome match. You're seeing it on here right now. Rich, I am sending it to you in chat so you can see it. We were on stage. We had the kids on stage. We had the giant projector. It looked cool. The kids had fun. I heard great things from the opposing team's coaches. They loved it. We had loved it. I hope to do more. Unfortunately, we're only the home team for a couple of games instead of whatever. Not a big deal. We'll deal with it. But had a great time. So this is what it looked like. Kids played. Okaboji won. We lost the first, won the second two, or the second and third, and that's how it went. So with that, one more time, spoiler alert, we're going to talk about The Masked Singer. Rich, you watched The Masked Singer this week. How'd it go?
I did. I liked it. It was a good episode. My favorite performance of the night was the Penguin. It was the Pendulum. So I was kind of surprised when she went into the Care Bear showdown, and they putting the Crane and Picasso as safe and automatically going to the semifinals. Personally, I didn't really like the Crane's performance, so I was expecting her to go to the showdown. But High Voltage, who performed Bad Day by Daniel Prouder, was the one that went home that night after going into a showdown of I'm So Excited by the Pointer Sisters with the Pendulum. Probably saying that wrong, but anywho, so a lot of clues. The panel went with more football stars, guessing Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, Travis Kelce, and Jason Sudeikis instead, but it ended up being the High Voltage was American soccer legend and broadcaster on the Fox network for their World Cup coverage, as well as probably the MLS, Alexi Laius.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is either.
But
the can't miss clues that were in there. I think his jersey number was right there on his chest. The V of Voltage, I think, had something to do with it, of being 5. So the Roman numeral for 5. and nobody caught that his head was a soccer ball.
Well, I did it the first week. I talked about
Yeah.
it. I'm like, I don't know if that's throwing us off. Somebody did because of, you wouldn't guess Jason Sudeikis without the soccer ball, I think.
Yeah.
They didn't catch who
But
it was
nobody-
exactly, but you wouldn't catch Jason Sudeikis without the soccer ball.
Yeah,
So-
but not without anybody. I think most of the time, if you say soccer in America, you're probably going with non-American soccer players that you know because of name recognition, like David Beckham or Messi.
Yeah. So, yeah, you had Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, Travis Kelce, and Jason Sudeikis were guesses.
Everybody got it wrong. I thought he did a nice job.
I
of
am
the-
looking at it currently. I'm shocked because I've watched it before. Like, I've seen him perform. I'm shocked that he's the one that went home. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. Continue to watch The Masked Singer. As next week will be Star Trek night, and you'll get to see whether Kim Cantrell, the Cat Witch, if her dupe of everybody except the panel knowing who she is, goes to the finals, or if she is finally unmasked.
Yep.
So personally, I thought with the Crane, I thought that they had her picked. So in going with our theory of once the panel is on to the person, that's who normally goes home. So that's why I thought that the Crane would be going home. But instead, she's going to the semifinals as
Okay.
being a part of the top 5.
Okay. With that, Rich, any other than your wife, any other shout-outs this week?
Kind of in sad news, but music director within the Moline Public School Systems, Kermit Wells, passed away this week. So he was a big part. Did many years in the boys choir with him directing, and it was that organization that allowed me to do a lot of traveling around the U.S. So yeah, so it was kind of sad to hear of his passing this week.
Yeah. And then we had a friend of ours from church and deacon of our church, John McMurtry, passed away. And that's why we're doing this early, because we have a funeral to go to in about an hour. So with that, Rich, let's go ahead and roll that outro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.